Hi, 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 hi.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sid City Social Club meeting for Tuesday, October 6th. We are happy to see you.
Hello again. Welcome, 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 welcome. So, theme coming back in. I decried themes last week and I've changed my mind and they're coming back in this week. It's mental health month or week. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. But it's mental health something. So I think it's probably not a bad idea to bring it up a little bit every now and then. Not necessarily personally, but some people may be feeling a bit more fragile than normal. And or as fragile as normal, and that's just not unfragile as other people would like you to be. I know that I used to be very intolerant of people who weren't completely 2020 mental health wise. You know, I was like, come on, pull yourself together, talk to a friend. Haven't you got a mother? All those sort of stupid things. And over the years, even kind of got over myself and began to see a few things slightly differently. And on that note, so it's really not so much about whether you have problems, which is totally fine if you do, and we happily talk to them in the group, about them in the group, but it's really whether or not you have any anecdotal, interesting advice. So let's talk, let's chat. I had a big talk with Nana. I don't know if any of you have read about it or heard or saw it, but we talked about mental health and she gave a very moving account of things that have happened to her in her life. I don't know if Ariel and Terry made it. I was interested in you guys coming because of the fact that you're a doctor, Ariel. So that's what that's about, if anyone missed that. And, with that, we should bring on our first guest.
We're going to talk to Ed. We met him a couple of months ago, I believe it was. And Good. Ed had a story about meeting his daughter for the first time.
Yes.
I was part of the Aaron Eisenberg crew when I came in the first time.
That's right.
And, we got to speak after John did. I actually met my daughter when she was 9 or 10. Wow. Obviously, it's my stepdaughter, but I consider her my daughter as much as anyone else would. I'll fight people about that.
Yeah, of course.
My wife is Belarusian, so obviously my daughter is Belarusian, and I don't speak Russian or Belarusian.
Right.
And the chances of me learning both are pretty slim.
How's their English coming along?
All my sister-in-laws speak amazing English. There's no diplomatic relations with Belarus, so we had to meet in Moscow. And my wife couldn't go because she was in the process of changing from a political refugee to a resident alien. And you can't travel outside the United States while you're going through the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember.
So we got all the paperwork we needed, both in Russian and in English. So here I am. I don't speak the language. I'm going to meet my father-in-law for the first time in person. And my youngest sister-in-law and my daughter for the first time. So, God knows what's going to happen. Wake up early, go to a 5 o'clock airplane trip out of Kennedy Airport in New York. 9 hours later, I'm sitting down in Moscow. Call my wife while I'm getting my bag after customs. I'm like, so they're going to be right outside the customs area. And the train was a 17-hour train ride for them.
Oh, my God.
So I grabbed my bag, walked through customs, and I sent Mel a picture of the first greeting I got.
Oh, great.
I had not even put my bag down, and she ran up to me and hugged me.
Oh, that's just too adorable.
Yeah, I had talked to her on the Skype, but never in person. She called me Papa for the first time on Skype.
Wow.
And you look at my right hand there, I'm still holding my bag.
Yeah, absolutely.
She just saw me and ran up and cuddled me.
Oh.
It was amazing. It was an amazing feeling. This is actually my daughter and my son's first picture together the next day. It was her first plane ride, so she did not sleep. She just watched the movies. Fortunately, we were on the Russian airline, so everything was translated Russian and English. So neither of us were lost there. It was just 3 hours in the airport where we were communicating with a little sign language.
Right.
We had to say goodbye to my father-in-law and my sister-in-law, who were our translators.
Yeah.
We went through customs, and we're sitting there watching the planes take off. Somehow or another, she tells me she wants ice cream. Fortunately, there was a TGIF Fridays in the airport that took American money because I had given all my Russian money away to my father-in-law. Had the biggest ice cream sundae you've ever seen in an airport. Neither of us finished it. You got on the plane 9.5 hours later, go through customs, and then get called into the customs office because they're got to process the paperwork. We're both running on fumes.
Yeah.
My wife and my father are outside the customs area waiting for us. No clue how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
My daughter falls asleep in my lap, and she's like me. She's tough to wake up when she falls asleep.
Yeah. What was it like in the airport in Belarusia where you were alone for the first time together?
It was comfortable. We had talked to each other. We knew each other. Of all things we've ever bonded over, it was Mythbusters.
Okay. Yes,
During the Skype conversations, we were both watching an episode of Mythbusters.
Yeah.
And to listen to her speaking fluent Russian and go into everyone's proper English pronunciation of their names.
Imagine it being awkward.
It wasn't awkward, it was comfortable, but it was odd to talk.
Yeah.
Because you can't talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting there describing how the planes are taking off, and she's watching it at its amazement because it's no longer on TV; it's out this big window.
Yeah.
I'm finally with my daughter, and
God, I'm moving.
My wife had made borscht for my daughter because that's what she asked for. She went to bed rather quickly. I stayed up a little while trying to normalize my sleep again. It was tough in Moscow because I was up about 36 hours that first day, and my father-in-law wanted to have a proper Russian night in the hotel room. So it's Russian cognac and meats. And I'm drinking, and I'm starting to feel buzzed, and I'm like not getting drunk in front of my father-in-law the first time I meet him. So my wife is on the computer. She explains to him she has been awake for the 2 days. The next night I did better.
You could mix it up with a little vodka.
And then, my first trip to Belarus, I mixed it up with the entire family. I did very good. I actually sent one more picture. She humored me for a little while. And obviously I'm into Star Trek.
Oh, yes. Guilty secret.
Yes. She joined me at the 50th anniversary at the New York convention. She dressed up with me.
Wow, she went all medical too.
She went medical. She liked the character of Dax.
Oh, perfect.
Really liked actually meeting Miss Farrell.
Yeah.
She never smiles. She's a very introvert. But I will tell you, my background is her artwork. She painted this painting.
I was going to ask, what an amazing stormy sea.
It's one of 3 pictures she painted for people. One's a daylight stormy sea, this one, and then one with a light tower in a stormy sea.
The way she's managed to do the sky is really top notch.
Yeah, I'm on a different computer than I have all her stuff saved. But she's actually going to go to art school next year.
Wow. Well, it looks deservedly so.
There's enough artwork around this house to sell someday, I hope.
It's a beautiful way to decorate a house.
Wonderful to decorate. Matter of fact, my wife bought her a huge canvas that she can't start painting until we get 2 easels that she can put it up on.
She's super talented. She's picked the 2 hardest things to do, water and sky. And they're the things that everybody trips up on. It's amazing.
I got one more here. She did that one too. She did this one for me. I actually requested this one. The diffused light from the star and then the rocky moon off to the side.
That's just amazing. Interesting when you see someone, someone really well who's come from somewhere like Belarus, or it could be any country that is quite different to the American culture. And in, maybe 6 or 7 short years that she's been in the States, absolutely has something to do with being a teenager, but she's beginning to form an identity for herself.
Right. And she's like my mom. She does not like her picture being taken. If I wanted to tease her, I'd follow her around with a camera.
Yeah, me too. And when I did have my picture taken, I made a goofy face because I just found it's,
right.
That's I would always go like this or something like this. Or,
she gets angry.
That's more honest. Obviously, she's probably totally assimilated, except for the fact that her mom is also Belarusian, so that they must share some cultural identity there.
They go back for the summers usually. Obviously, this summer they were not able to go back. But,
wow, so she's now about to go to college art school.
Yes.
And hopefully find a mentor she just thinks is the most amazing.
She's so good. She takes commissions from her friends. She paints all the time. Yeah. There's a permanent easel in her room now, and she'll rotate the pictures she's working on.
Yeah. It's one of the great things in life, isn't it? To look up to your kid.
And I'll tell you, the only thing we don't share are genes. She's my child.
Yours would be far too big for her anyway.
Way too big. But she makes me proud. She's a good teenager. I've never had to worry about her. Last year, I was in the hospital for a heart attack.
Yeah.
And I tried to make time with both kids after I got out to talk about what happened and how it's going. And, my son, who just turned 9, was scared and showed it. I went to talk to her about it, and she goes, we don't have to talk about this. You're going to be fine. You're going to do what the doctor says. You're going to, do everything else. The heart condition's genetic. I know your family. You're going to be fine. There's no reason to talk about it. I'm not scared.
We haven't talked about that, but it sounds like you found the right partner in life in your wife.
I mean, I lucked out twice, and it came with the daughter that I couldn't have asked for.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really just gorgeous. What a happy story, Ed. I'm really, really happy you told us that. Thank you. Well, Ed, thank you so much for sharing that and the photos and the story of you going to pick up your daughter. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty out there.
It was an amazing adventure and one I wouldn't trade for anything.
I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of most people in the club that we think she's a brilliant artist, and we pass that on to her.
I will definitely congratulate her on that for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You got it, man.
Okay, we're going to go to Amanda.
Hello, Amanda. Good to see you.
Hello.
Hello. Where on earth are you?
I'm in Utah.
Oh, wow. I think Utah is we don't have a lot of Utahnians?
Utahns.
Utah. What do you call yourselves? Brilliant. Okay. Do you have not like a pet name? I know that people in Massachusetts, I think they call themselves Bay Staters. I'm not sure. Maybe I've got that wrong. I can't remember. Someone from Massachusetts will correct me because I just remember there's another name for a person from Massachusetts because it's such a long name to spell. How are you? Much more important than where are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing all right too. Have you been to the social club very often? I know you must have been a few times because you're on
This is my third time.
And so you decided to come and say hello.
I did.
Okay, fantastic. And you are living with anybody, or are you alone?
I live with my father and some of my siblings.
Yeah.
4 of them.
Okay.
I have 6 siblings. It's hard to keep track of them sometimes.
That's going. Absolutely. It's a crowded dinner table. Who cooks for you all?
My little brother is the cook, honestly. Sometimes my sister-in-law. He's the big cook. He's the adventurous one.
How old is he? Do you mind me asking?
He is 14. Wow. Yeah.
And he's cooking for 7 people.
Yep.
You must be pretty proud of him.
I am. He's a good kid.
Yeah. And what are you missing most at the moment? Are you missing school? Are you missing college?
Jeez. You know, not a lot changed for me when the pandemic started. I've been working the whole time. I have my fiance works for the same company I do, and my family's here.
Well, congratulations on your upcoming marriage.
Thank you.
Do you have a date?
January 2021. We're a few years off, but
wow, that's good. That is absolutely no rush. It's going to be terrific. And what's it like in Utah? What's going on?
Oh boy, Utah has been a mess. Our biggest city, Salt Lake, is doing all right.
Did you move there recently?
I did. I was raised here. I've lived here my entire life, and it's my home.
It's absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. What is your favorite thing about Utah? What's your favorite place, or what's your favorite streak of Utah culture that you go, if I ever moved out of Utah, I'd miss that?
The mountains. Anytime I go away from Utah, I miss the mountains.
Yeah. And can you see them from near your house?
Yeah, right outside my window.
Do you have a lot of lockdown, or is it all voluntary?
It's all voluntary here. You know, in the city, they were really strict. But here, where I live, things were nothing locked down.
Did you become separated from your fiance?
For a little bit. We worked in the same location when the pandemic started. So I would see him every day, but we couldn't talk, and that was really hard.
Yeah. And what have you been doing to make yourself feel better during the COVID thing? Because you seem very smiley.
It's been really hard, and it's interesting. The theme is mental health. Not much changed for me during the pandemic, but my mom passed away 3 months ago.
That's tragic.
She was battling cancer and her going through that. But I've been okay, you know?
Did you get to see her in hospital? Because I know there are a lot of restrictions.
She was actually in hospice when everything went down. She was here already. We'd known that she wasn't going to have a lot of time left to live, and so they let her live it out at home.
Great. That's such a blessing. How long did she suffer?
About a year, you know. It was complicated.
You know, I can only go off my own experience, but I worshipped my mother. She meant everything to me. I lived alone with her as a kid until she found my stepfather. I clung to her like a puppy, and she showed me the world and how it worked and how to behave and not to take people's stuff too seriously. She particularly, stopped when strangers came and said nice things. She would say, yeah, they're very nice, but don't let it go to your head. Let's go on. I thought everybody was in love with her, and I'm sure you have exactly the same. We have exactly the same mothers. I have to tell you that at the beginning, when my mom died, I felt empty. I wouldn't mourn. It wasn't until probably weeks later that I actually cried. But it has nothing to do with the crying. It had just about me going through my process at my own pace is what it was about, which is a fierce independence that she taught me. But if there's any consolation, and there's very little consolation anybody can give you, she will become a bigger and bigger presence in you as you get older. And she will never leave you. And you will create a myth of her in your body that you will carry with you everywhere, and you will talk about her. You'll bore your friends with her about her eventually. But that's what's now going to happen. And that's her gift, if you like.
Yeah. That's something I've been thinking about a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Just today, I was thinking about how it's about memories and about how there's a difference between thinking about the past and being stuck, and how it's true that you can't change the past, but new things can always come from it.
Yes.
And change and new experiences come from everything that's been built and has happened before.
Yeah.
And it's all about staying in the moment and looking at everything around you and remembering your past, like the person you were was a treasure.
Yeah.
And something to be kept and used, and that's all you need.
Yeah, that's very true. I think you just have to speak her story, You have to tell her story. You have to rehearse it. You have to start adding to it. You have to remember it. Because one day you may have to tell her story to someone else.
Yeah.
And the more vivid it is, the prouder you will be of your recollection, but also it will help with the space she needs to take inside you. I know that a lot of cultures, my culture from Sudan, I'm obviously very British, but my Arabic culture, we don't have much history written. Nearly everything is said and dies with people as they die. Our history dies. And some people have a job to basically retell that story, to keep the stories alive. We'll tell you who the grandfather was and what he did and blah, blah, blah. Just start getting the story straight. That's one of your jobs. What's your real job?
My real job, I work at a dry cleaner's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've never met anyone who works at dry cleaners.
That's a common thing. I don't think people think about dry cleaners. And that's what actually happens inside of a dry cleaner's very often.
What happens inside of a dry cleaner's? Tell us. Like from the minute you open the door, what are the first things you do?
I spend a lot of time looking through people's pockets.
Right.
So much time. Just sorting clothes and pulling things out of pockets.
Is it like horrifying to be doing people's clothes and rugs and things?
One time I found nearly $400 in the back of somebody's suit pocket.
Wow. Can you track them down? Did you want to? That's the test, isn't it?
Yes. We have a whole system for returning lost items. But the biggest thing is I was just terrified. I was like, how do you forget?
$400.
That? I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to tell anybody about it. I wanted to put it in the little envelope where we put things and put their name on it and put it where it was supposed to go and forget. I don't know. But I was like, I don't know.
What is organic dry cleaning? When I was in Brooklyn, I saw organic dry cleaners everywhere. What is that? I mean, I understand basically what it is. There's no chemicals used. Is that something you guys do?
I've never heard the word organic used. I know that we're a certified environmentally friendly dry cleaners.
That's what you want then.
I don't know how organic could be
I know.
to dry cleaning. I don't have answers for you.
Curious, as a dry cleaning professional, you might have shed some light onto that. I'm terribly
sorry. I can tell you all about pressing shirts and what starch is.
Well, I could probably use some information about pressing shirts because I never press my shirts. It just doesn't happen.
Honestly, I need a steam. So.
Do you have any pets?
I have many pets. We have 5 cats and a dog right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Lots of them. That house
is
teeming with life.
It is.
And your 14-year-old brother cooking up a storm.
Yeah, the worst part. This isn't even the most people who's ever lived here.
Wow. Did you ever notice that we have a recipe book online from everybody in the social club that was put together over weeks with pictures and illustrations and graphics? Did you ever see that by any chance?
You know, I did see that on the website earlier. I was looking. I may have a recipe to put in there, actually.
Oh, great. Well, there may be another opportunity to do that. Did you show it to your brother? Because it'd be pretty cool if he could put some food together from a recipe book.
Yeah, I will have to show it to him.
Please do. Please see if he's got time. He may be like, I don't want to do that. I've got no time for that. I've got a shop.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You are just a darling person. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. I'm looking forward to talking to you again and to see how you are. We'll be checking up on you. Really curious to know what your brother cooks as well. So you might have to give us a recipe of his too.
You know, next time he tries to bake a loaf of bread or something, you know.
Wow, I am impressed. Awesome. Well, listen, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story, Amanda. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon, I hope.
Yeah.
Good. Come on back. We want to clock in. We want to keep tabs on you.
Thanks, Amanda. It was lovely to meet you.
At some point, I'd like to hear from Ariel, because he was also at Nana, that thing. He's got 5 minutes at some time.
Ariel, we'll come back to you in a minute. We've got Emma and Judita who wanted to chat for a minute about they're both in the entertainment industry and they have some thoughts to share.
Great.
Hello, Sid.
Judita. Hello. Good to see you.
I wanted to share something that happened today.
Oh.
And I'm very happy that Mel agreed to let us talk a bit. Because
please do.
After months, this week I returned to set work.
Congratulations. You have a paycheck again. I'm so happy.
Well, I had, because it happened that I coughed one time today.
Yeah.
And because of that, I was sent home with no other regard. I have a cold. I sneeze from time to time. That is not a symptom of coronavirus that we know of at the moment. It's more a symptom of 1 week of rain in London.
Goodness.
My temperature is...
They sent you home and they said, that's it?
That's it, bye. Please send another script supervisor.
Oh, yeah, really? They want you to help out?
I should, absolutely, yes. It was this quiet manners of either you find a substitute or you're not gonna get paid for the 1 day and a half that you did for us already.
Oh my God, Judith, I'm so sorry. What a nightmare.
In a way that I'm trying to sympathize with the whole situation. London numbers are crazy. The UK numbers are rising, and also they are hiring as coronavirus assistant / ambassadors, the people who's in charge of everyone. There are people who have been trained by an online tutorial of 30 minutes. I've done it myself, so I know what it's about.
Yeah. You got tested, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Why on earth didn't they test you before you came to work for them? I mean, why wouldn't you test everybody if you're going to be in a room together? You know, test you 3-4 days before you come to work. Give it time for the test to show itself, and maybe even give you another test before you go into work again. It makes absolutely no sense.
That is what the health and safety is asking, but it's not what every production is doing.
I love people as much as the next person, but I don't trust them. You can't self-certify. You can't say, no, I'm fine, guys. Now, come, let me work with 100 people in this one room. Let's hang out. There's just no way I would trust you all. It makes no sense. Oh, I'm really sorry that it didn't work out.
There is that, Sid, but we were talking about
Emma.
it. We don't think we're going to be here in April. Neither of us. It's going to die. We can't keep it up. There's just not enough money. I don't know what we do about it, but if it was my show, and admittedly we're working with smaller budgets, I wouldn't pay for it either, because we have to take on all the risk now. And yeah, I don't know. We're not going to be here.
We are going to have to be here, but it's going to be massively tough. We're going to be broke as hell. We're going to have to amuse ourselves like this, come up with inventive ways of amusing other people. But I don't see that we won't be here. And that's you guys and me. I think we will make it, but it's just a question of doing the right things the right way. And Judita was just thrown out without any due process. I mean, it's not the due process of how you get fired. It's the due process of how you get hired that I'm concerned about. Producers are on a tight budget. I do get it. And you're a producer. And I'm a producer too. I would have to put into that budget, £35 a head for everybody to be tested to COVID. It just would have to happen. It's like, that's the way it goes, even if that becomes quite expensive.
Yeah, I mean, that's one aspect of it. The uncertainty is just massive. Yeah. We can't plan anything. And so if I have people there, what am I meant to pay with them?
You can't have people. I mean, you just can't. Everybody has to do everything on faith. You're going to have to knit together the core group. Everybody's going to have to find another way to earn money, but keep talking as if you're going to make another show. So this becomes your moonlight job. I'm producing as a moonlight. I'm not getting paid for anything. I'm not getting paid as an actor, obviously. I'm not getting paid as a producer, but I'm still having production meetings because I know that we'll emerge at some point. And if I haven't got my stuff ready, I'm just going to be behind the 8 ball. And everybody's going to run over me because the bigger, even slightly bigger companies have a budget. They have at least £20,000 to pay their staff with, and they can get financial assistance, which I can't possibly get. We just have to be prepared. We just have to stick to it and go, we're going to keep going as if we're getting paid, but not being paid in terms of ideas and development, and in terms of making sure that the right things are happening in the right order, and going out to people and making sure that they know that we're trying to make sure that everything's still going. That's basically it. I mean, you've got such a great imagination. How would you define yourself? As a creative producer or as a financial producer?
Financial producer.
So you're going to have to get together with your creatives and find out who and how. That's really what it's about. Put it this way, the broadcasters right now are inundated with product. So many ideas right now, they don't know what to do with them. So you have to start going, right, what about these niche ideas? So being fired off a job for coughing, that's ridiculous. Judita, you are at the pointy end of a really, really difficult business. The whole thing is collapsing unless you're in a big studio making a soap opera or a huge movie. I'm being asked to do projects, but they're not projects. They're not going to happen. I don't know when I'm going to work. I just have to prepare to sit it out for the long haul till March, June, whenever the vaccine happens.
Sid, me and Emma kind of wanted to have like an honest talk about all this in front of also the community, because I don't think a lot of people realize what's the real situation behind live entertainment, cinema and TV industry right now.
Yeah.
Yes, these are the kind of jobs that you land with a lot of passion usually. Yeah. Because they require a lot of sacrifice that not a lot of people knows about.
Absolutely.
But because you love it. It's not our hobbies. Those are our jobs. We can't rely on our jobs anymore, and we haven't been in the last months. And yeah, even if for people it's like, well, you're lucky enough that you are working in movies, or you're lucky enough that you're doing what you really love. I just want to make clear to everyone here that these are our lives at kind of stake as we know them, but also the things that you love are at stake here, people. Yeah. And if you try to watch a movie until the very end of the end titles, you will realize how many people are behind it and how many people right now are not working whatsoever. Yeah. The reality is, yes, we can put aside our imminent money issues, let's say, but probably we will try to find another jobs, and many people at the same circumstance, we kind of the same backgrounds right now. So we're gonna have be a tank of sharks to continue trying to thrive. So to have like a side money so we can keep doing it on our own investment, what everyone loves. I do not come here to complain about the fact that, ooh, I lost the job today. And that was the first job in months.
That's a bump.
But that's something that really bumps, because how can we think we can survive the winter even if you actually land on a job and something like one single cough is enough to let you home? How can we do that?
Yeah,
You can't.
People with their contracts, because they're changing it all to 0 hours and they're making it redundant. And like Geeta today, because they coughed and because of the contract that's been put together, they can just get rid of them.
It's really ridiculous. And there's no apparent remedy. And you know what? Our business gets hit first in pretty much every major incident. So it's serious as a heart attack. And I know that right away, there was something like 50,000 people lost their jobs in London in the entertainment business. Right away, like in March, people already went, I know what's happening. This is going to go pear-shaped and we're getting rid of everybody. And they did. And those people still haven't got work. And I know that hundreds of thousands of people were let go in Hollywood at the same time. Boom, gone right away. I'm lucky, I think, because when I do get back to work, will make enough money from one job probably to just about get back level again. And I just hope to get that job. I just don't know how everybody else manages. I think it's astonishing and tragic. And I'm trying to think of a way through it. I mean, I'm trying to think of something that maybe a Zoom play or something like that. Yeah. What ideas could I possibly come up with that would be good enough?
The way through it, like bad things in the past, obviously this is bigger than anything else, because before there would be dry spells, but you could kind of work. As long as you worked at it, you would get somewhere. Whereas now, there's nothing I can do. And I can't tell people who depend on me for work what they do, because I don't know. And no one knows. I have no idea.
Live theatre is probably the worst, only because that's the very nature of performers and the audience are in the same room. That's it. It's a make or break every single night. At least film and TV, you can get people in a hotel and isolate them, and they have a huge amount of budget compared to everybody else. The only thing I can think of is, got to come up with a piece of theatre that works on Zoom. I mean, that's it, and charge. You just said something really interesting, is that we're investing in ourselves by waiting right now. We have to back ourselves. We're good enough to make it through this later. We're good enough to bounce back afterwards. Then maybe we can find a way to turn this into some sort of money-making venture,
It was such a rich, posh space before, right? You had to have money or know someone with money. This is just going to make it worse.
It's going to separate even further the people who were never rich, who weren't in it to make a million, who just wanted to entertain and make a living.
How are you not angry about it?
I have a particular melting point, which is really high. But when I reach it, I turn into a sort of red dwarf and collapse into a black hole, So I'm really careful about how close to the end of anger I get, because I find I'm much less rational and I don't think things through properly. But let's kick around some ideas. How about that as the next thing going forward? What might make an interesting Zoom piece? And let's see if we can't figure out what to do with it. We might be able to do something, people might be able to do something that raises enough money to pay for a bill or two.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's got to be a good idea though. There could be some legs, and I'm sure we've got people here in the club who would probably be pretty good at helping out too. Because if we lose hope, we're like without a life jacket in the water.
Yeah, it's this past month, because it looked like everything was opening up again, kind of September, and then the rate's gone up massively and we're going to have another lockdown. And so it's been incredibly difficult the past 4 weeks, because the first 6 months we could all go, we'll just get through it until 6 months. And now it's at the point where we don't know when it's going to end.
It won't be till next March minimum. It just won't, because we're going to get through winter. Winter's terrible anyway because of the cold and flu season. So we've got to get through that, and we've got to get to crawl to spring. So it gives us a lot of time to come up with some good ideas. I may or may not be able to do it, but I'm really good with in the ideas department.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I'm a creative producer, I would say. I find great projects, think about how they would work, and then I sell them on. So don't come up with an idea today. Don't think about it now. Have a glass of wine and relax right now, and then we'll come up with something.
For us.
Of course it is. I forgot about that. Have a cup of tea. I think we can do it. I mean, I also have a feeling that we kind of pioneered the whole Zoom drama thing on this. So we can brag about that. By the way, all of those guys who are here for the first time tonight, social club, going, what the hell is this social club? They just argue with each other. This is not fun for me at all. I'm sorry. We know each other really well now. So we've been talking to each other for something like 6 months, 8 months. So bear with us. But I think there's a comedy potential on Zoom for something, for example, as crazy as a dating site. And you can only meet on Zoom. So things that you just have to make sure it's organic to Zoom. So it makes sense for Zoom. It takes into its stride the whole COVID thing. In the way that we did for the play, it just has to be a bit more sparkly than that.
Beats my idea of waiting for Godot on a socially distanced park bench. I think that's got legs. But
I think it probably has too.
Yeah.
It's very funny. You've written a note to yourself on your hand.
Yeah.
I thought you wrote about reminding yourself to talk about the charities with you.
Oh, yes. We have a list of charities that people might like to donate to if they've got money to help both people who work in theatre in the UK and TV for the UK. And then we've got film and theatre for the US and Canada, I think.
Great.
I remind you all that if you go to the cookbook page on sidcity.net, you can also donate for people who work in TV and film right now.
Wow.
UK, US and Canada.
Great. Got to find out how to be more useful. Okay. Right. That's note to myself.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, don't. Sorry. It's all good. That's what we're here for each other for. Let's try and keep these balls rolling and not forget the difficult stuff is also kicking in as well. And it's not going away. Thank you for reminding us. Right. We're going to move on and we're going to come back to this. We'll keep thinking about this. We'll find a way to communicate, Emma and Judith, to make sure this ball doesn't drop on the floor completely.
Great.
And we've got to keep our sense of humor. Otherwise, it'll be really hard to think straight. Okay. Let's wheel someone else on.
I think we're going to get Ariel here for a few minutes.
Greetings from beautiful Delaware. Terry and I are actually on vacations.
I was just curious on how you felt, just generally, without getting into the specifics. A lot of people weren't there. I'll try and explain for the people who weren't there, set you the scene, what happened. We had a 3-hour chat. And the second hour was Nana and I talking about a terrible incident that happened to her when she was in Los Angeles filming Deep Space Nine in the second season, I believe, might have been the first. She was carjacked. She barely survived. These people who did this to her were caught and they went away. So it was a very, very serious thing. And then Nana obviously had post-traumatic stress disorder, for want of a better way of putting it. And she emerged from that Phoenix-like. It took her a very long time, but she is now extremely open, eloquent about her conditions, and really wants to pass on her story as a resource for other people who are suffering from anything they're having trouble emerging from. So does that set the scene, would you say, Ariel?
I think it did. Both of us watched it. And well, first of all, I could speak for the both of us, and we've admired you two for many years. That level of vulnerability, number one, was very surprising. Number two, very intense, of course, and led me and Terry to a greater respect for you and for Nana as people in general. To even put yourselves out there at all, let alone in a semi-public setting like that.
Thank you.
I appreciate it deeply, and it really did take us aback. It shook both of us in our ways.
It was very vulnerable. It was particularly so for Nana. It was interesting, the choice we made because of the fact that Nana knew that it was time to be useful, and her experience dies with her if it's not allowed out, if you like. It is an incredibly valuable resource to have someone with that experience who emerges as a survivor.
And not everyone does, so that speaks to I think the strength of her resilience as well, if I may speak about that. I wish you were here too, so I could say that to her, but...
Well, you know what? She will be here. Let's not do too much. That she will be here and we can talk about this, and I'm hoping we can get the full edit of the hour, which we can break down into clips and we can show to people, and so people get a vague understanding of what this geography is and where we're coming. And I'm really grateful you were there, because, and she, by the way, said, yeah, that's great. When I told her that you were coming, I said, I don't know you particularly. I mean, I've only known you since we've been in here. I'm not speaking to your professional largesse or your professional excellence. I'm sure you are both excellent and largesseful.
I try. No, but
I think I wanted an anchor there. What you just said is really enough for me, because if you had come in and gone, Sid, I've got to tell you, you've got to correct this. You've got to go out there and you've got to issue an apology, and you really screwed the pooch here. Sorry for those who have dogs. And this is That's the thing you have to watch out for. That would have stopped me in my tracks. But if you didn't think that and you thought, no, maybe this is useful.
I think professional opinion, again, presenting that level of vulnerability. The other level too is of two people with, in our little world, very high profile. Again, to do this is extraordinarily courageous. It really was. I didn't see it coming. My jaw was on the floor. Terry's jaw was on the floor when announced that she could even tell the story we're presenting with such an even keel.
Yeah, it's the first time
and grace and dignity, and again, strength of character, and even just speaking back to her experience. And again, we don't know you or her. We know things as fans that she was part of this family, and so on and so forth. And again, on a personal level, there are many things throughout this talk that resonated with both of us. Resonated with me, being kind of left out, and I took refuge in music and theater in high school and college. I felt that as well. And an interesting kind of reminding me of some of what I've gone through in my life, including a very traumatic marriage myself. The first marriage, not the second one. The second one went, right. The second one is great and strong.
Good save, honey.
I meant this. I meant that. I got the chorus in the background.
Yeah, Greek chorus.
Yeah, but again, so it did resonate with me on a personal level as well in many ways. I mentioned briefly to people in chat that I was on the receiving end of parental alienation.
Right.
All that kind of resonated anyway.
Absolutely.
Pass along my brief thoughts to Nana.
Well, you'll have time to do that. I will warn you when she's coming. You can say exactly what you said to me. I'm sure she'd be really happy to hear that. Well, thanks, Ariel. Thanks for coming and letting me use you like that. And I was using you, but hopefully it was constructive use.
And
thanks, Terry.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. We didn't expect it. And here she is.
Thank you very much. It was an incredible thing to be a teeny part of.
Yeah. Well, we'll give everybody a bit of context later, and then we'll talk about it some more. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, you too. Okay, our final guest this evening is Laura. We talked to them a long time ago. They were the ones that were into the punk music scene.
Oh, yes, I remember them.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going, everybody?
Very good indeed, thank you. You're Boston punk scene.
Yep.
That's you.
That's me.
I remember. I'm always tough when I remember something. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just hanging in there,
I'm really glad to hear you're good. What's going on in your world?
Not much.
Nothing. Nothing like the rest of us. Nothing is going on. What do you mean, Sid?
I'm just working a lot, but other than that, just hanging out at home,
Yeah, really missed your friends last time. Beginning to see people even at a distance, because that's sort of becoming vaguely acceptable now.
No, I've seen a couple friends a little while ago, but it's been like a month and a half.
Yeah. What does the dog think? Yeah,
what?
Month and a half.
Yeah. That's my dog, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure it has an opinion, otherwise it wouldn't have come on camera.
Yeah, that's Princess. Say hi, everybody.
Hey, what's up?
She's hanging out, yeah. She's hanging there. But yeah, no, I haven't really seen anyone. Still at home.
Have you had any interesting breakthroughs in terms of something that's really captivated you? Gone, ooh, okay, this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been in COVID.
I guess I've been reading a lot and playing more video games, I think, getting into that. But other than that, no.
What reads are you interested in at the moment?
We just finished a book on the Discord. We have a little book club. So we finished a book yesterday. We talked about that. Was good. Yeah. It was Medic Alley. I'm not going to pronounce the last name. I will butcher it. But that was cool.
What game are you playing? Or vaguely playing? What platform are you on?
Xbox.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
What game are you kind of vibing right now?
I just bought, it came the other day. I haven't started it, but I bought the new Tony Hawk remaster. So I can be like a 10-year-old boy again in 2000. Yeah. Awesome. I'm excited to get into that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have Amazon Prime, that the account, that thing where you got the movies and the post office and all that stuff?
I don't like Amazon, so I don't have an account.
Fair enough. I mean, I know that they're trying to get more people to subscribe to their site, so they're now luring gamers by giving them free stuff in game if you want to hook up with them, which I find kind of cynical. But they're smart at that stuff.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's another way in, isn't it? It's just like, gaming is the biggest thing right now. We should turn to gaming.
I've had more time at home than like I normally do. So I usually work about like 75 hours a week, and now I'm down to like 50, 55. So I have some extra time, and it's been nice.
Wow, yeah, absolutely. I was talking to Robert Hewitt-Wolf, who is one of the writers on Deep Space Nine today. I did a Zoom at 6 o'clock, well, my time, Eastern time, so just about 5 hours ago.
Yep.
And he's a big gamer. I didn't know he was a big gamer. And back when, in the 90s, when we were doing Star Trek together, he was writing, I was acting. We were playing the same game called Ultimate Online, which is pretty wild because no one was a gamer back then. No one gamed back in those days. But that's before your era, not just your time. That's before your epoch.
Yeah, that was before I was a little bit more conscious, yeah.
When your mom was not even a little bit pregnant.
I'm almost 30, so I was a lot.
Okay, you were just your way into the door in 1995 or 6. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So gaming is kind of keeping you sane. Reading is kind of keeping you sane.
Yep.
Are you doing anything else? Tell me about the Discord. Is the Discord something that's happening all the time, or is it just happening? Okay,
yeah, we talk all the time.
That's a group thing, and a lot of the people in the club are in it. And what is it like? Twitter
wants to be. It's just a chat room. That's all.
Okay, so it doesn't shout at you. It doesn't push notifications. Is what I mean.
No, it could.
So you have to log in
if someone mentions you, but yeah.
So you log in any time during the day, and people are there having. It's nice because I'm just making sure people know what it is and they can get involved. I certainly don't know what. I was calling it Discourse for the longest time. I thought Discourse was such a trendy name, but actually it's Discourse.
I know I changed the name one day.
Okay. Do people get to it by invitation? Can they ask to be invited?
We throw a couple links in the chat here.
Yeah, so that's how you got involved. So anybody who wants to chat during the week, when we're not chatting here, and you think you've got something in common with everybody, which is hardly likely because we're all such weirdos.
Right, yeah,
then,
of course.
Feel free to get in touch on the link and join the Discord.
If you want to, yeah.
How's your family?
They're good, I think. I haven't seen them in a month or so. I don't know. I talked to my mom the other day. That was it.
Everybody's good. No one's feeling too down.
I think so. No, I don't really know. They don't really talk about it.
Well, that's great. I guess that's great. And I think Washington's doing pretty okay. I mean, not Washington. Massachusetts is doing pretty okay. I don't know if it's much worse in Boston. Is it kicked off in Boston? You're just outside Boston.
It kind of doesn't feel like it exists anymore, but like everyone knows, but it's back to normal almost. Yeah. So my second job is in retail, just standing there. It's like, wow, there's a whole bunch of people here and like no one's doing anything about it. We're just all have our masks on and everyone's like standing really close together and it's kind of like, okay.
Wow, that's crazy. That really is crazy. Just have to vote. I think that's the answer. 100 million people didn't vote in the last election.
Yeah.
I think it's important that anyone gets to vote any way they want to, but just vote. That's all. No one in this room is going to complain about who you vote for. So I've got to do a little arm twisting. We're getting close to the election. And I can't vote. So I'm being completely hypocritical. But please vote for who you want to vote for. And when no one's going to actually bother to ask you, because this is the first time I've really seriously got into. Well, I don't seriously get into the politics of anything. We try and leave it alone.
Yeah.
So, what is? We know a bit about the games you like, and a little bit about the books. The Discord. What do you do to treat yourself?
Good question. I don't know. I don't buy a lot. Treating myself like before this was going to shows. That's why I have the second job. Second job pays for that.
But what do you do? I guess I shouldn't really ask you again because you've got to say the same answer. It is still concerts.
Yeah, I don't buy a lot besides like media, like books and stuff like that. I don't do it. I don't do much else. I don't need much else.
Yeah. You know? I can't remember if you live with other people or not.
I live with a roommate, yeah, and my dog, obviously.
Obviously. Who feeds who? Obviously not the dog. How do you eat?
I do most of the cooking for both of us, so.
Oh, do you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Very cool. Have you seen, were you part of the recipe book?
I didn't submit a recipe. I submitted something at the end because I didn't really have anything.
I read that. But have you done any of the recipes? I haven't done any yet, but I will do. I'm going to have to try and get my wife to film it because obviously I can't make a thing out of that book and not film it and show everybody.
I have not. I'm like home like 2 nights a week. So, and this is one of them. So I have like one night where I can cook something nice maybe. I want to. The winter's coming, so it's nice. Winter's like good cooking weather. Much
more cooking weather, absolutely. Well, I'm going to find a way to film something I make in that recipe book and try and do it a bit as regularly as possible. And maybe a few of us can do that and we'll just put together some how-tos with a bit of funny.
That'd be cute, yeah.
Certainly in my kitchen, which is really kind of horrific. It's the one room we don't like in the house. We rent it. So we're like, we got this place. It's the kitchen. I got my barbecues. Well, listen, I'm going to call it tonight because yes, please ask a question.
Oh, no, I was just saying Mel's posting it. Last time after we spoke, I made a little playlist for everybody, and a few people really liked it. I made 2. So
I heard about this. I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, so there's 1, and then I made a 1 for everyone that's called Please Vote. And it's a bunch of of songs. Yeah. And it's a bunch of like political songs. Everyone listen to it if you feel like I listen to it on the way to work and I get really like upset about it. But it's good listen. It's good music.
Brilliant. I'm going to get those playlists myself. I don't know whether I'll get to listen to everything, but I hope I do.
That's okay. If it's in Spotify. So if you have Spotify, go for it, everybody.
Thank you, Laura.
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
Thank you very, very much.
Welcome.
Well, that's it. I've been suitably playing up the idea of voting. I think it's really important. Honestly, don't give a damn who you vote for. Excuse my French. German, not sure where damn comes from. Anglo-Saxon. And let's meet on Friday. As many of you as can make it. And at some point, I do hope to get Nana here and maybe show you bits of what we did the other day, so you'll have a bit of perspective. I can't say you'll enjoy it, but I think you, as much as anybody, will figure out how to use it constructively, because that was the point. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you guys on Friday.
Good night.